No nanny ever survived the Millionaire's triplets until a single mother knocked on the door. No nanny had ever lasted more than a month in Ethan Carter's house. And today, as a red backpack flew across the polished marble floor of his luxurious living room, Ethan knew with painful certainty the 13th one wouldn't last either. "I don't want another nanny," Aiden, the oldest of his 8-year-old triplets, yelled, arms crossed tight against his chest, his glare sharp and defiant. Logan ducked behind the Italian leather armchair, while Finn, the most sensitive of the three, burst into uncontrollable sobs. Finn's tears didn't shock Ethan anymore, but they still broke his heart every single time. He rubbed his temples, exhaustion clinging to him like a second skin. "I've closed $100 million deals," he muttered, "but I can't win against 3 little boys." Ethan Carter, 36, CEO of a high-end hotel chain that spanned the West Coast, had once been the perfect image of success: composed, logical, unstoppable. Now, one angry look from Aiden was enough to make him feel like a kid about to fail a pop quiz. "You promised no more strangers in the house." Logan peeked out from behind the chair, eyes shimmering with hurt. "You lied?" Finn whispered, tears still wet on his cheeks. 2 years had passed since Rachel, Ethan's wife, was killed in a car accident. He had tried everything, hired the best caregivers, enrolled the boys in therapy, even attempted dating again for the sake of balance. But the day the boys saw him kiss a coworker in his office was the day they declared war on any woman who dared to step into their home. The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden, freezing the boys mid-rebellion. "I'm not opening it," Aiden snapped. "If it's another nanny, she can let herself in." Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He knew this might be the last shot. If this didn't work out, his mother, Vivian, would ship the boys off to a boarding school in Connecticut by next term. The doorbell rang again, firmer this time. "Boys," Ethan said, taking a deep breath, "let's be respectful. Please." "Or what?" Aiden challenged. "You'll send us away and be done with it?" The words sliced straight through Ethan's chest. He had never felt more powerless or more lost. As he walked toward the door, he could feel 3 pairs of eyes tracking his every move. Cautious, wary, untrusting. Through the frosted glass, he saw a woman standing outside. No lipstick, a plain white blouse, and a navy skirt. Nothing that screamed, "I'm here to impress the millionaire." Maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. The door opened, and Ethan found himself face to face with a woman who was different. Not because she was dressed to impress, quite the opposite. She wasn't trying at all. A simple white blouse tucked into a knee-length navy skirt, worn but clean flats, hair tied back neatly. No makeup. But her dark brown eyes looked right at him, steady, calm, and completely devoid of calculation. "Good afternoon, Mr. Carter," she said with a warm smile, extending her hand. "I'm Lily Bennett. Sorry I'm 5 minutes late. Traffic was heavier than I expected." Her soft Western accent had a subtle, down-to-earth charm that Ethan found unexpectedly comforting. "That's all right. Please come in," he replied, shaking her hand. Her palm was calloused, hands that had worked, not just typed. As they stepped into the grand foyer, Lily's eyes immediately went to the 3 boys, all still watching her like she was an alien from another planet. Ethan waited for the usual reaction, mild horror at the chaos, or worse, that overly sweet smile designed to charm him while ignoring the kids. But Lily didn't do that. She crouched down to their level, ignoring the toy car that rolled near her foot. "Hi," she said gently, her voice low and calm. "I imagine you guys are pretty tired of meeting new nannies, huh?" Aiden raised an eyebrow, arms still crossed. "Are you going to tell us everything's going to be okay, and that we'll be like a family?" "No," Lily answered without hesitation. "I don't know you well enough to promise that. but I can tell you the truth. I'm here because I need a job, and your dad needs help." Ethan blinked, stunned. No fake promises, no gimmicks, just honest, grounded truth. Logan stepped out from behind the chair slowly. "Do you have kids?" "Yes," Lily nodded. "A little girl named Olivia. She's 6, kind of like you guys, maybe a little younger." She looked toward Finn, who was still rubbing his eyes. "And I'm guessing you're a little older than Olivia?" Finn murmured. "We're triplets, but I was born 3 minutes before Logan and 5 before Aiden." "Then that makes you the big brother," Lily said seriously, without using the sing-song voice that kids usually hate. "That's a big responsibility." For the first time in months, Ethan saw something real flicker in his son's eyes. Interest. Lily stood up and turned to him. "May we speak in private, Mr. Carter?" "Call me Ethan," he said, guiding her toward the study. But just before the door closed, Aiden shouted, "If you think you'll last longer than Miss Rachel, you're wrong." Lily paused, looked back. "How long did Miss Rachel last?" 2 weeks, Logan answered proudly. "Well then," Lily mused, "I guess I'll have to try and make it to 3. Ethan couldn't help but smile. This woman was different. As the study door clicked shut behind them, Lily didn't wait to be offered a seat. She pulled out a chair, sat down upright, and looked Ethan square in the eye. "Before you explain the job," she said calmly, "there's something I need to be upfront about." Ethan raised an eyebrow. He was used to applicants who were nervous, intimidated by his money, or eager to please. But Lily was none of those things. "I'm desperate," she said, matter of fact. "I lost my position at the elementary school 3 months ago after a round of budget cuts. I was a school counselor specializing in trauma, and right now, I don't just need a job. I need stability for myself and for my daughter." Ethan leaned back slightly, studying her face. She wasn't pleading. She wasn't fishing for pity. She was simply telling the truth. "You chose school counseling because," he asked. Lily pressed her lips together. For a moment, her eyes darkened. "My husband, Mark, died when Olivia was just 1. Car accident. After that, I guess I became invested in how kids process pain, not just from textbooks, from living it." Ethan nodded slowly. She understood, not in a theoretical way, in a way that meant something. "Miss Bennett," he began. "Lily," she interrupted, "if I'm going to move in with your family, we might as well start with first names." "Lily," he corrected himself with a small smile. "I should warn you, my kids are not easy. The last nanny quit after they put glue in her coffee." "Did it work?" Lily asked, half joking, half curious. Ethan laughed. "Didn't glue her lips shut, but it made her spit it out and pack her bags in under an hour." "So, your kids aren't cruel," Lily said thoughtfully. "They're just creative and hurting. That I can handle." And in that moment, for the first time in months, Ethan let out a genuine laugh. From the living room came the sound of chairs scraping, followed by giggles and muffled chaos. Ethan moved to stand, but Lily gently raised a hand. "Let me," she said. "After all, this is my interview." With a quiet smile, she stepped out of the room, leaving Ethan alone with a single thought echoing in his head. Maybe this time, it's real. Lily stepped out of the study only to find she had walked into the most impressive architectural feat she'd ever seen in a living room. Dining chairs were lined up like castle walls, blankets draped across to form domes, cushions stacked like fortification towers. And the children? Vanished from plain sight. "She's gone," Logan's voice echoed from deep within the structure. "Maybe she left," Aiden added, clearly hopeful. "Or she's calling the cops," Finn whispered. Lily didn't yell. She didn't scold. She didn't panic. Instead, she sat cross-legged on the floor and began to clap. Slow, steady, calm. "Impressive construction," she said sincerely, her tone full of admiration. "How long did it take to build this?" 3 pairs of little eyes peeked out through the gaps in the fort, staring at her. "You're not mad?" Logan asked cautiously. "Why would I be?" Lily tilted her head. "Clearly, you know how to work as a team. You understand structure. You might be future engineers." She scooted a bit closer, still staying below their wall line, never invading their space. "But I'm curious, is this part of your plan to scare nannies away, or do you really need a place to hide?" Silence. Then Finn whispered, his voice barely audible. "It's our safe place. When Dad gets sad about Mom, we hide in here." Lily didn't rush to fill the silence. She simply nodded, her gaze soft. "We all need a safe place," she said gently. "When Olivia has nightmares, we build forts too, with pillows and blankets. She believes if there are enough pillows, the monsters can't get in." "Your daughter has nightmares too?" Aiden asked, his tone noticeably softer. "Sometimes, especially when she misses her dad," Lily replied, her voice like the first breeze of spring. The boys exchanged glances. There was something about her words, not pity, but genuine understanding, that shrank the distance between them. "I have a proposal," Lily said. "If you let me stay this afternoon to get to know you, I'll show you how to make this fortress even stronger. My dad was an architect. He taught me a few tricks." Logan popped his head out, his eyes lighting up. "Really? Do you know the knot that never comes undone?" "I even know how to make a roof that doesn't cave in," Lily replied, her eyes twinkling. And just like that, the invitation was accepted. The living room became a construction zone, and Lily, from stranger to ally, was officially in. Ethan, watching from the study door cracked open, couldn't say a word. No shouting, no orders, no strict rules. Just understanding. And what he had tried to rebuild for 2 years, today it all began again. With a pillow fort. 3 hours later, the living room no longer looked like a war zone. It had been transformed into a miniature city made of pillows, blankets, chairs, and rope borrowed from Ethan's garage. Each house had its own entrance, a nameplate, and a shared walkway, lovingly named Peace Street by Lily. She hadn't just helped the boys build. She had guided them to plan, assign roles, and create rules they all followed willingly. Ethan could hardly believe it. Logan, the usual troublemaker, was cleaning up without a word. Aiden, the defiant leader, was measuring the ideal height for the fort's main tower. And Finn was laughing. Not that quiet, forced laugh. A real one? "One final touch," Lily said as she knelt to tighten a blanket corner. "Before we officially open Carter City, we need to clean the surrounding area. A good architect always keeps their site tidy." "This is cleanup disguised as fun, isn't it?" Aiden asked, narrowing his eyes. "Like playing while working?" "Exactly," Lily replied with a smile. What amazed Ethan most was that no one complained. In just a few hours, she had established order without issuing a single command. He was about to step in and thank her when his phone rang. It was his mother, Vivian. "Ethan, are you home? Has the new nanny arrived?" "She has. The kids are playing." "Let's hope this one works. I just spoke with Westbury Academy in Connecticut. They can take the boys next semester." "Mom," Ethan cut in, eyes still on Lily as she showed Finn how to tie a knot. "I haven't made any decisions." "You need to remember, women like her don't come for the kids. They come for the Carter name. Someone like her sees this as a ticket to another world." Ethan gripped the phone tighter but kept his tone steady. "Mom, I'll decide." "Are you sure you know who she really is, Ethan? A single mom, unemployed, moving into your house after just a few days? Sounds like someone trying to trade up." Ethan tightened his grip on the phone. "Mom, she's here for the job. And the boys? They're finally smiling again." "Women like Lily don't come for the children," she snapped. You carry the Carter name. Do you think someone like her doesn't notice what that's worth?" He said nothing. "Don't let your feelings blind you. Think about the future, about the family's image. Those boys don't need a sweet, struggling nanny. They need someone who belongs in this world." When the call ended, Ethan stood in silence. His mother's words echoed in his mind, planting a doubt he hadn't dared to name until now. The weight of it pressed down on his chest like a stone. For the first time, he questioned not just Lily, but his own judgment. When he turned around, Lily was looking at him. She hadn't heard the conversation, but somehow the concern in her eyes made it feel as though she had. "Is everything okay?" she asked calmly. Ethan shook his head. "No, but I think something's about to start." No one said it out loud, but within just a few days, Olivia, messy-haired, often with uneven pigtails, had seamlessly blended into the household. The 6-year-old quickly won over the triplets with her fearless honesty and warm heart. Finn taught her how to fold paper airplanes. Logan shared half of his favorite cookie. Even Aiden, the most guarded of the three, eventually led her into the pillow fort, a privilege never before extended to anyone outside their trio. "Miss Lily," Aiden said one evening at dinner, his tone serious like a boardroom executive. "Can Olivia stay for dinner?" "And next time, too," Logan added. "Don't pick her up too early." Ethan looked over at Olivia, sandwiched between Finn and Logan, grinning from ear to ear as she scooped another helping of mashed potatoes. "She's kind of like our little sister now," Finn whispered, then glanced up at Ethan. "Don't you think?" Ethan nodded, throat tight. He hadn't felt this in a long, long time. Since Rachel passed, his world had collapsed. He existed like a ghost, working, coming home, stumbling through fatherhood without a roadmap. Every time he saw pain in his kids' eyes, he felt like he was failing all over again. But now, watching his boys laugh, race Olivia to the hallway, and seeing Lily's relaxed smile in the middle of kitchen chaos, he felt something different. Hope. Not the vague kind, but the solid, almost tangible kind. That maybe, just maybe, this home was being stitched back together. Not with the same old pieces, but with something new, simple, and real. Ethan got up to grab another plate for Olivia, smiling as she squealed a cheerful thank you. He was starting to feel happy again, a feeling he never thought he'd dare to feel after Rachel was gone. 3 days later, Vivian Carter showed up unannounced at her son's house. Not to see the grandchildren, not to have dinner. She came with a folder in hand and a sharp, determined look in her eyes. "Do you have a minute?" she asked, her voice soft but heavy. Ethan, chopping vegetables while watching Olivia and Finn play in the yard, nodded slowly. They entered the study. She placed the folder on the desk and opened it. Inside were photos, social media printouts, a few old newspaper clippings, and a copy of a marriage certificate. "What is this?" Ethan asked, frowning. "It's Lily Bennett, or rather, Lily Gardner, her married name," Vivian replied. "She used to live in Texas, in a $2 million home. Her husband was Mark Gardner, a real estate investor." Ethan stared at a photo of Lily at a gala, arm in arm with Mark. They looked like a power couple from a magazine spread. "She was part of high society," Vivian continued, "but after Mark died in a financial scandal, his family turned on her. She lost everything and vanished." "And you think she came here for what?" Ethan asked, his voice low. "You think it's a coincidence she landed in Palo Alto? She didn't return to school counseling. Instead, she became a nanny in the home of one of the state's wealthiest families. That's not coincidence, Ethan." His chest tightened. He tried to stay calm, but doubt was seeping in, slow and steady. "She turned down at least 3 offers from private schools," Vivian said. "One of them offered double what you're paying her." "I'll talk to her," Ethan replied, though even he didn't know what he expected to hear. "Do you think Lily loves your children?" Vivian asked, quieter now. Or does she just need a roof over her head and a second chance, no matter what it costs? Ethan didn't answer. She stood calmly collecting the documents. A woman who's lost everything once will do anything not to lose again. When she left, Ethan remained seated, eyes fixed on the closed door. Part of him wanted to throw the entire folder into the fireplace, but another part was asking if he really knew the woman he'd let into his home. Ethan didn't sleep that night. His mother's words played in his head like a broken record. A woman who's lost everything once will do anything not to lose again. The next morning, Lily arrived as usual. Olivia ran to hug her, just like every other day. But Ethan stood silently by the kitchen counter, gripping his coffee mug until it went cold. "Ethan?" Lily asked, her voice soft, her eyes confused by the silence. "Is something wrong?" He nodded, gesturing toward the study. The room was so quiet that even the ticking clock sounded loud. "I talked to my mother last night," Ethan began. Lily's face tightened. She nodded slowly, bracing herself. "She looked into you," Ethan continued, his voice low. "You used to live in Texas. You were married to a wealthy man. You had everything, and then you lost it." Lily didn't deny it. She took a deep breath, her hands clenched in her lap. "I was going to tell you. I just didn't know how." "Then why come here, Lily?" Ethan asked. He wasn't angry, just tired. "Why choose this house? Why these kids? Why turn down steady jobs to be a nanny to a widower?" A heavy silence hung between them. "Because I didn't know what else to do," Lily said, her eyes beginning to tear up. "I didn't plan this. I just needed a job, a place where Olivia could feel safe. And then, you, the kids, everything just happened. I never lied to you. But yes, I hid my past." Ethan turned away so she wouldn't see his reddening eyes. "I don't know what to believe anymore." Lily stood, walking slowly to the door. "When you're ready to hear the truth, I'll be here." And then she walked out, as quietly as she had come. Ethan was left alone, a single question echoing in his chest. Am I pushing away the best thing that's happened just because I'm afraid to be hurt again? One quiet weekend afternoon, just after Lily had taken Olivia home early, the front doorbell rang. Ethan opened it and found himself face to face with Charlotte Miller. She looked like she had stepped straight out of a fashion magazine. Golden waves of hair, a navy-fitted dress, elegant heels. She was just as radiant as ever, perhaps even more refined after her years in New York. "Ethan!" Charlotte exclaimed, smiling as she hugged him as though no time had passed. "I'm back, and this time, I'm here to stay." Before Ethan could respond, the click of heels echoed across the marble floor. Vivian appeared from the dining room, her smile triumphant. "You see? Charlotte has returned. This is the kind of woman who belongs by your side." Ethan froze for a beat. He knew his mother supported Charlotte, not just for her elegance, but because the Miller and Carter families had long discussed strengthening their business alliance. Charlotte wasted no time with the children, presenting them with boxes of expensive gifts. Logan unwrapped a new Lego set, Aiden beamed at a signed soccer ball, and Finn hugged a deluxe box of paints. "Thank you, Miss Charlotte," the boys shouted in unison. But then Aiden suddenly asked, eyes searching the room, "But why isn't Miss Lily here?" The question silenced the room. Charlotte only smiled politely, while Vivian shot Ethan a pointed look that seemed to say, "This is exactly why you need to make a choice." Ethan pressed his lips together. He didn't answer. In the cheer of presence and Charlotte's perfect smile, all he could feel was an unfamiliar emptiness. The message from school made Ethan's stomach drop. "We need to discuss an incident involving Olivia today." When he arrived, Olivia was curled up on a bench outside the principal's office, eyes red and swollen. Lily sat beside her, holding her close. "The kids in class, they called me the maid's kid," Olivia sobbed. "They said I only go here because my mom works for a rich family." Ethan's chest tightened painfully. He had never imagined that bringing Lily and Olivia into his home would cause a 6-year-old to endure such cruelty. "Olivia, that isn't true," he said, kneeling to meet her eyes. "You belong here, with us. No one has the right to say otherwise." Before Olivia could respond, raised voices erupted from inside the office. Ethan recognized Finn's voice instantly. "No one gets to call Olivia that," Finn shouted. "She's our sister." The teacher tried to make him sit down, but Finn struggled, eyes blazing with fury. The principal stepped out, sighing. Finn interfered aggressively in the fight. "We'll have to file a report." Ethan looked at his son, angry, defiant, but driven only by loyalty. Finn had crossed a line, but only because his heart couldn't stand watching Olivia be humiliated. Pulling both children into his arms, guilt washed over Ethan. He had failed to protect them, and now they were protecting each other. That night, after the incident at school, Ethan couldn't sleep. Images of Olivia sobbing, Finn lashing out to defend her, and Lily's unwavering gaze replayed in his mind endlessly. When the house finally grew quiet, he walked into the living room. Lily was there, sitting on the sofa, bathed in the soft yellow glow of the lamp. She looked exhausted, yet determined to stay strong. "Lily," he said hoarsely, "I need the truth. All of it, no holding back." For a moment she sat in silence. Then her shoulders trembled and tears spilled freely. "Yes, I once lived in that wealthy world," she admitted, voice breaking. "My husband Mark was a real estate investor. I went to galas, wore gowns, lived in a mansion worth millions. But when he died in that accident, it all collapsed. His family?" Her voice caught. "They needed someone to blame, and that was me." She wiped her face, but her voice kept trembling. "They said I was greedy, a gold digger. They threw me out of the house, cut every tie. I lost everything except Olivia. She's the only reason I didn't fall apart." Ethan listened, his chest tightening. "You could have taken other jobs," he said slowly. "Safer, steadier. Why here?" Lily lifted her eyes to him. There was despair there, but also the faintest glimmer of hope. "Because I don't want Olivia growing up feeling alone, like I did," she whispered. "At private schools, at other people's houses, I was always reminded of what I'd lost. But here, with you, with the boys, Olivia has a family. A real one, and so do I." Her voice cracked as sobs escaped. "I know I should have told you sooner. I was terrified that if you knew my past, you'd send us away. But Ethan, I never came here for money. I just wanted a place to call home." Ethan felt torn apart. One side of him echoed his mother's warnings, the fear of making a mistake again. But the other side saw the woman in front of him, broken yet strong, honest to the core. He sat down beside her, gently placing his hand over hers. "I don't know what the future holds," he whispered, "but I do know this. I believe you, because of what I see every day, the way you love the kids, the way you protect Olivia. No record or file could ever prove that. Only you." Lily nodded through her tears. In her weary eyes, a fragile but undeniable flame reignited. That night, Ethan knew the decision ahead would change everything. But at least he had finally heard the truth, straight from Lily's heart. The next morning, the house felt unusually calm. Ethan had been awake all night, weighing his mother's words, Lily's past, and the truth in his own heart. He found Lily in the backyard, watering the little flower beds the kids had planted the week before. The morning sunlight touched her face, gentle and serene, and it nearly took his breath away. "Lily," Ethan called. His voice trembled, but his gaze was steady. She turned, surprised to see him standing there. "What is it?" He stepped closer, his heart pounding. "I've heard the truth. I understand. But there's something I need to say, so you'll never doubt again." He drew a deep breath. "I love you, Lily. Not for who you were or what you've been through, but for you, the woman who made my kids laugh again, who brought warmth back into a house that had felt empty for 2 years. I love Olivia too, and I want, if you'll say yes, to build a new family. Together." Tears filled Lily's eyes as her lips trembled. "Ethan, are you sure? This path won't be easy." He clasped her hand firmly. "I'm sure. Family isn't about status or money. It's about love. And I choose you. I choose Olivia. I choose all of us." At that moment, a loud gasp erupted behind them. They turned to see the triplets peeking out from behind a tree, their eyes sparkling. "We knew it," Logan cheered. "I told you Dad liked Miss Lily." Aiden grinned. Finn hugged Olivia tight and shouted, "Now Olivia is officially our sister." The garden filled with laughter. Lily cried, but they were tears of joy. Ethan wrapped her and the kids into his arms. For the first time in years, he felt whole. A new family had begun, imperfect but real and overflowing with love. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. The Carters no longer lived in the sprawling Palo Alto mansion. Ethan had sold it, choosing instead a smaller home in the suburbs, where the yard was wide, the neighbors friendly, and children's laughter filled the afternoons. "This house isn't luxurious," Lily had said when they moved in, "but it has a soul." And she was right. Every corner radiated warmth, the fridge covered with kids' drawings, pillow forts still popping up in the living room every weekend. The biggest change was the arrival of the twin girls, Anna and Clara. At only 2 years old, they kept the whole household spinning, yet brought immeasurable joy. Logan, Aiden, and Finn competed to be protector of the twins, while Olivia, now 8, naturally became the big sister, gently cradling them, singing lullabies whenever Lily's hands were full. At school, Olivia thrived. She was no longer the maid's kid in anyone's whispers. She was the brightest in her class, always smiling, always helping. Sometimes Ethan caught glimpses of her diary, where she had written in careful letters, "I have twin sisters, 3 triplet brothers, a mom, and a dad. I have a whole family." Those words brought tears to his eyes. The greatest surprise came from his mother. Vivian, once Lily's fiercest critic, had melted the first time she held the newborn twins. Amidst the cries and laughter of babies, she realized there was no room for prejudice where love lived. She never admitted it outright, but she began visiting every weekend, bringing homemade pies, and even learning Lily's Colombian recipes that the kids adored. One late afternoon, while Lily played with the children in the yard, Ethan stood on the porch, a cold beer in his hand. He watched the scene before him, the triplets chasing each other in the golden light, Olivia tying her sister's hair, Lily laughing freely. Every moment was like a slow-motion film, and Ethan knew he had chosen right. He whispered with a smile on his lips, "Love always wins. Through hardship, through loss, love always finds its way home."